Welcome back, everyone, to Pontos Fathom Hobbies. This is our Season 7, Episode 1 of Eldritch Horror's Mountain of Madness expansion. So we've just got the basic board set up with Ithaqua as our great old one. I think we've got almost everything here. We need to spawn 2 clues. 2 clues. Okay. Clue bag out. Spawning 2 clues. And I think we also need to open a gate to start out with. So let's see. First clue is 8. And second clue is the pyramids. So we'll have those 2 clues spawned. We'll spawn our first gate from the top, and we have Antarctica. And go off into the clue bag into the monster bag. And we get a werewolf on our gate. So let's jump right into turn 1. Quick shout out to the Killingworth Bogman and the Carolina Tobacco Geist, book 1 and 2 of the Bogman saga. If in theme with Ithaqua, Windwalkers, Yetis, Sasquatch, we've got the Killingworth Bogman terrorizing a New England town, risen from an ancient tobacco curse from the mire. And we've got the Carolina Tobacco Geist. That tobacco curse from the Aztecs continues on to antebellum South. Check those out. Help support the channel. Like, subscribe, and your comments greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Okay, so we've got our players on the board. Let's read their backstories. All right, so let's start out with Ursula Downs. And I guess we'll make her... Let's have Ursula be our lead investigator, right? So she's got the mineralogy research, which it says, after resolving a general expedition encounter on a wilderness space, you may examine the area's soil. If you pass, gain 2 clues and discard this card. Okay, so we've got that. Ursula, personal story here. Discovery is, it says, the next big discovery. Discovery is not achieved in the quiet of a university laboratory, not the kind of discovery you crave. You pause to listen. Strange noises echo from deep within the ruins. You nod decisively to your colleagues and friend, Jake Howland, before stepping boldly through the stone archway. Oh, is this not the... Right. If you are in a named city space, you may discard 1 artifact in this card to gain the renowned reward. So she has a renowned reward that she can gain. So all she has to do is be in a named city space and discard 1 artifact. Okay, so she doesn't have an artifact yet, but once she gets one, she can discard it. So that's good to know. And then she will get her bonus. And if Doom passes to 6, then she takes the bad condition. Let's go to Wilson Richards, the handyman. His backstory is, heck of a job. It was supposed to be an easy job. Do the work, get paid, move on. Just like your last job and 100 jobs before it. But you cannot just sit idly as the world falls to pieces. That's not the kind of man that you are. When a rumor is solved during the encounter phase, discard this card and gain the Jack of all trades reward. So when we solve a rumor, so we have to wait for a rumor to come out. The rumor... So let's just put the rumor token here just so we kind of remember that he's the rumor guy. And then lastly, Wilson Richards, the handyman. Finn Edwards, the bootlegger. Don't get caught. You were the best around. You know it. The cops know it. But that infamy comes with a price. You know they're watching you, just waiting for you to slip up. When you flip a courier run unique asset, place 1 random clue face up on this card. After resolving a location encounter on that space, discard this card and gain the notorious smuggler reward. Okay, so he's got a courier run. When you gain this card from the deck, place 1 random clue that corresponds to a city space face up on this card. So after resolving the location, flip the card. Okay, so the way we go is courier run has a clue. We resolve the clue, we flip the card, and then we can get his the bootlegger's reward. So let's again, let's grab a random clue from the, where did I put the clue bag? Let's grab a random clue from the clue bag, and we can go forward with that like that. So it has to be a named city clue, right? It has to correspond to a city space. Okay, so I guess I have to keep drawing till I get a city space. I don't think Antarctica is a city, so we'll keep going. So let's just. Buenos Aires. Okay, so actually he puts his face up on, so he has Buenos Aires here. When he goes to Buenos Aires, he can resolve that. So he's going to do a courier run to Buenos Aires, basically. Okay, so next up is, okay, so that's our introductions. We've got our characters ready. We have Ithaqua. The weather has grown cold. The aurora borealis grows bright in the northern sky. Travelers returning from the north speak of visions of an ancient civilization. I like how it's the two poles, right? You've got Hyperborea with Ithaqua, and then there's something going on in Antarctica. It's like the cold is coming back to claim the world. The next thing I want to do before we go into the action phases is just read the Prelude card. So our Prelude card calls Doomsayer from Antarctica. An expedition to Antarctica has unveiled a startling secret. Though only one man returned, he spoke of a lost city frozen in the mountains. Much of his rantings were gibberish, but it is clear that he believed that something in this city would bring the downfall of mankind. Given all the horrors you've seen, you hesitate to dismiss those fears outright. You find yourself preparing for a journey to the frozen south. During setup step 5, determine Ancient One, set up the Antarctica sideboard. So I've got the Antarctica sideboard here ready for us, that we will pop out when we need it. And then it says, after resolving setup, if Rise of Elder Things are the Ancient One, spawn the rampaging Shoggoth epic monster on the lake camp. If the Rise of Elder Things is not the Ancient One, set aside the all Antarctica adventures and draw one random Antarctica 1 adventure. Then the lead investigator may move to the space containing the adventure token or to the Miskatonic outpost. So let's grab an adventure token. We've got the adventure token ready. And then we have to check the adventure ones. So we'll look at, this is adventure 2. Adventure 1, Adventure 1, 2, 3. And we have to draw a random Adventure 1. So these are 3, 2, and 1. So these are the ones. So let's give these a whirl. Okay, in Adventure 1, we get Gathering Provisions. You personally verify the contents of each crate. Your journey begins. A single mistake in your preparations could spell the difference between life and death. When this card enters play, place an adventure token on Sydney. Okay. So basically, I put the adventure token on Sydney. So I can have the lead investigator move to Sydney or to the Miskatonic outpost. So I think I'm going to have her move to Sydney to grab this first adventure token since we have to do it anyway. So let's move these cards to the bottom of the deck. Adventure 2 will be next. We do have her close to this pyramids, but maybe Arkham guy can go there to the pyramids. Maybe Wilson Richards will go after this clue. And on his way down to Buenos Aires, Finn Edwards can pass through Arkham and grab this clue. And maybe that's the way we'll go. This is another token. I don't think we need this token. Put it back in the bag. Okay, so I think that's how we're going to do the turns. Okay, so right off the bat, our lead investigator moves to Sydney, and we'll start with the action turn. So she moves to Sydney, and let's have her also grab a ship token, and let's check out what her ability is. She can do move one space along an uncharted path, then perform an additional action. So she can move an additional space on these uncharted areas. And that'll also come into play on the uncharted areas. Okay, so she'll grab a ship token. So she'll make her way to Antarctica next. Just have a ship token handy. Maybe she can fight off that werewolf in the south. So let's put this Prelude card up here, and the Gathering Provisions card here, and she will do that as her encounter with Sydney. And she can also let's have her grab a focus token as well, just in case. Okay, great. So next is Ursula Downs, the Explorer. Turn complete. Next up is Wilson Richards, the Handyman. So his action is he can gain one asset of your choice with value 1 from the reserve, or discard one card from the reserve and perform one additional action. Wow. So he can just gain one asset of value 1. So let's just have him do that. And then he can so he's got the newspaper report, and he can still do one additional action. So he'll grab the newspaper report. That's an asset of 1. He can perform one additional action, which will be to get a train ticket. And then we'll have him spend that. Well, actually, a ship ticket. And he'll spend that ticket to go 1-2 to Rome, and he'll do his we'll do the expedition encounter in Rome. So that will be his encounter. And same for our bootlegger Finn Edwards. Finn Edwards is going to make it down to his courier run to Buenos Aires. So on the way, he'll grab this clue. So we'll also have him grab a boat ticket in the city, move 1-2 and return his boat ticket, and he will have a research encounter on space 8 there, which is maybe the Caribbean, something like that. Okay, so action phase is done. We move on to encounter phase. So first encounter, it's an adventure encounter, and I believe these are the adventure encounter cards. Let me just double check in the booklet here. Expedition, adventures. When adventure is drawn, active. So I think I have to do the adventure encounter cards, right? That's the adventure research card, right? So adventure research card. Let me just double check. When this card enters play, place an adventure token on Sydney. When an investigator in Sydney performs an acquire assets action, he may spend 2 successes to gather the necessary supplies. If he does, he gains 1 provision unique asset. Okay, so all I have to do for this is I have to do my encounter here is actually I have to perform and acquire assets here. So So maybe I won't grab these 2 items. Instead, she's going to perform and acquire assets, and she doesn't need the ship token. Okay, so she doesn't need the ship token. She will perform an acquire assets action on moving here, and that's how she resolves it. If she spends 2 successes to gather necessary supplies, so I need to have 2 successes. So for acquire assets, I get to roll these 2. Oh, and I also get to increase her. Let me just double check. I don't think I increased her. I can improve 1 skill of her choice as part of setup, which I missed doing. So let me give her an additional influence. And then we can... Okay, so let's roll. If she gets 2 successes, we can spend our focus token too. So let's see what we get. We get 2 successes. Okay, so great. So she has 2 successes right out of the gate. Spend 2 successes to gather the necessary supplies. If she does, she gains the provisions unique asset. So she'll get the provisions unique asset. When the investigator moves to the Miskatonic outpost. Oh, so now her next goal is to move to Miskatonic outpost. So this adventure is still open, but sort of she's on it. So let's just give this to her over here. She's the investigator on the case. So she gets the provisions unique asset, and now she has to make her way to Miskatonic. So her next move is to move to Antarctica, close the gate, and then jump to the Miskatonic outpost, which you see is from Antarctica to Miskatonic outpost. And then she can cash in her provisions and close the adventure 1. So we're already off to a good start with the adventures. Okay, so that was Ursula Downs, the explorer. Let's move on to Wilson Richards, the handyman. Again, Ursula Downs, again, she has to discard an artifact when she's in a city. She does not have an artifact yet, but let's see what happens as she goes along. Wilson Richards, handyman. Expedition in Rome. Let's see what he's got for his encounter. It says, Rome, you've granted access to the Passetto di Borgo, the passage that connects Vatican City to Castel Sant'Angelo. You carefully examine the walls of the secret walkway to find access to hidden chambers. Okay, so he gets to roll an observation check, which he fails. You don't see where the robed cultists came from, but you fight to overpower them. Okay, so he gets to roll a strength check now, which he's... Okay, also, if he rolls a 6, it counts as 2 successes. And each one negates 1 success. So let's see what he gets. Okay, so he gets passes the strength test. He overpowers the robed cultists. If you pass, the Vatican Guard escorts you to the rest of the way, and the experience strengthens your resolve. Improve your will. So Wilson Richards improved his will. So that's helpful. So yeah, he does not improve. Oh, one other thing we forgot to do, just because it reminded me of, we need the active mystery. So we've got to set up the active mystery here. So I believe we just grab a random one. So let's just shuffle these. We don't know the Ithaqua active mystery, so this is also key. We've got a lot going on in this game. There's the Doomsayer from Antarctica with our sideboard from the Prelude card. There's Expedition. There's Adventure and the Adventure deck. And now we have our active mystery, is Supplying the North. The increasingly harsh winter has disrupted the vital flow of basic necessities to cities and towns in the northern hemisphere that are now cut off from the world by the deluge of ice and snow. When this card comes into play, place one Eldritch token on each of the following spaces: 4, 9, 19, and Tunguska. 4, 9, 19, and Tunguska. Okay? When an investigator on a city space performs an acquire assets action, he may spend 2 successes to gain a provision's unique asset. At the end of the Mythos phase, each investigator in a space containing an Eldritch token may discard 1 provision unique asset and spend 1 clue to place that Eldritch token on this card. Okay, so I'm going to nominate Wilson Richards to be our man of the North. Wilson Richards, we've got a very tense game set up here, guys. So we're going to have Southern Hemisphere action going on the sideboard in Antarctica for Mountains of Madness. And when we also have Ithaqua in the north, there's a freeze line happening in the north. Provisions are cut off from the north. So basically, you know nothing, Jon Snow. This guy is going off to the north, and he's going to basically defend the wall, kind of. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma. And I think maybe for now, since Finn Edwards is heading south too, maybe he can join Ursula down on the sideboard, and then later on they can make it their way back up. Another interesting note is, at any point, depending on where the monsters show up, our investigators can perform 2 success actions and just go right to Miskatonic Outpost. It's like taking a ship there. So it's kind of a free teleport to the south. But going to the north will be a challenge at the end of the game when the clock's ticking. So that's just kind of something we're looking forward to. Okay, so that's Wilson Richards' turn, the handyman. We got our supplying the north in place. We've got a bunch of Eldritch tokens out here. Let's go into Finn Edwards, the bootlegger. He has a clue, and he will pull that from the Ithaqua. I don't think I shuffled these, so let's just give them a good shuffle. As usual, all the encounter decks, I've stacked them with the Mountains of Madness cards at the top, and then just normal cards below. So let's check out the research encounter for the bootlegger, Finn Edwards. He is in a sea space. The seas have become treacherous as the temperature drops, but you press on to reach your goal. You press on to reach your goal. He's going to make a observation check. Passes. If you pass, you find the shipwreck you were searching for. Gain this clue. Okay. So from the vibe of the cards, you're noticing that the theme here is the world is starting to enter a deep freeze. Right? The world's entering a deep freeze. Even as far as the Caribbean, there's ice. So this ice is kind of coming down from the north. Very interesting. He gains a clue. He can place this clue on his card, and that's going to be the end of the encounters phase. Let's jump into the Mythos phase. So Mythos phase, we have to move the active adventure to, looks like that is Sydney. So active adventure, expedition moves to Sydney, so maybe she can encounter that in the next turn since she's right there before heading out. So maybe she'll linger 1 turn. Let's see how we play it out. Okay, or on the way back up, we'll see what happens. Okay, so Mythos phase. We'll grab the first Mythos card, turn 1 Mythos phase, and we get the Cold White Silence. It's a rumor. As an encounter, an investigator on space 1. So we put the active rumor, this is just to remind us here, the active rumor goes on space 1, which is here. As an encounter, an investigator on space 1 may search for the cause of the unnatural cold. Okay, so it says Cold White Silence, living like a living thing, the cold has crept to parts of the globes that you have not that have not seen snow in eons. You fear the dreaded Ithaqua is transforming the world to free itself from the frozen prison. So the world is freezing, right? And this is our active rumor here. So we'll leave this active rumor card on space 1. Also, this is part of Wilson's expedition. So if he solves the rumor, he can advance his personal story. So let's keep that there. Then we've got spawn clues. We have 2 clues to spawn. So let's spawn 2 clues, not 1 clue. Spawn 2 clues. So clue 1 is the snowy mountain. The snowy mountain on the sideboard. So I'll just put the sideboard out here just to show. We've got a clue on snowy mountain, and then 1 more. The Himalayas. So we've got 2 clues here. Maybe these are things that Wilson can go take care of. Okay, so clues are spawned. Next one is place the active mythos card, and then lastly there is a place 3 Eldritch tokens on this card. So these Eldritch tokens get discarded as we solve that. So that's going to wrap it up for turn 1. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you back in turn 2. Follow the link across. That'll get you to turn 2. And we'll take up the story from there. I think the strategy for the next turn is I kind of want her to close this mystery, so maybe she'll just stock up on some items, maybe expedition token or focus tokens. Wilson probably can go grab this clue, and Finn can head down to Buenos Aires to close out his career run and flip that card. So that'll be his next move. And then I think maybe in the next turn we head to Antarctica. So yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan. See you in the next turn. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.